Live and direct. It's Sway in the morning.
Right here on Shade 45.
This is a very special edition of First Aid with Kelly Kincaid. Number one, we're talking about prevention of diabetes, how to live with diabetes, or if you want any information that if you've been impacted, a family member, a friend, this is now the time to call 888-742-3345. Kelly, we have very special guests. You want to do the introductions?
First of all, good morning, Sway. How are you today?
I'm just hyped up. Say hi to Prince got me on a natural high right now.
That was a great time to have him here. I'm very honored for you all to be here. I have Dr. Jeanette Jordan, Justine Simmons, and Reverend Run here talking about the Ask Screen No.com campaign. And first of all, I wanted to say congratulations on the birth of you all's granddaughter.
Yes.
Ava
Marie.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, diabetes is very important just for everybody because in America, 1 in 3 American adults run the risk of having diabetes. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to find out, Reverend Run and Justine, why did you join this campaign, which is a great campaign?
For me, my father had diabetes, and I knew about it, but my manager called me, Mike Lehman, and his dad had diabetes also. They both passed. And he called me, and he told me about Novo Nordisk and coupling up and talking about it. And as everybody knows, I do the words of wisdom all the time. I got all these followers, and I used to give the words of wisdom through emails. And I felt like it was a calling from God telling me, okay, let's talk about health right now, Rev. So when things come to me, I make sure I don't just dismiss them. I'm like, why, God? And then it even got a little weirder when I found out that World Diabetes Day happens to be my birthday, November 14th.
Right.
So I look for signs and wonders. I don't just let things just pass by. So I was like, okay, this is too much, God. So I started telling people, because, in the hip-hop community, we talk a lot about Maybachs and wealth. And in my mind, the first wealth is health. Because we went away one day, me and my wife, to St. Bart, and we got there, and all of a sudden I threw my back out. And then another kid, Diggy, back then was catching a cold. And we found out, okay, we're here. We got everything that we prayed for this summer, but now we're sick. So if you're not healthy, you really can't, have any fun. So we wanted to talk to people about it, and we joined forces with Novo Nordisk, and we also have a sweepstakes, and you can tell them about it, Justine.
So if you go on AskScreenNo.com, you're eligible to come to our house, and then we'll also have an educator there, a diabetes educator that will teach you, and you don't have to have diabetes. They will teach you healthy habits that you can get.
And you get to hang out at Run's house.
So you get to sit in that new kitchen y'all built?
Yeah, you get to see the way we flip the ball court, all that. So you get to come. Yeah. So
we're really excited, and my husband was partnered up with Novo Nordisk first, and then I started hearing some of the things, and I realized before I even checked online to see if I was at risk, I realized I was over 45. I was African American. Diabetes runs in my family on both sides.
Wow.
My father was in a coma actually a few months ago, and my aunt is in a coma now. And so
diabetic coma.
Diabetic coma. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and if I tell you, it's crazy because I grew up with them.
Yeah.
So if I would have known what I know now, this could have been prevented. So that's when I went and got checked right away.
Right.
Thank God we don't have diabetes.
And we don't have it, but we're at
risk just for being African American and over 45.
Really?
And Dr. Jordan.
You're more at risk, double.
Dr. Jordan, you talk about African Americans and diabetes. That ratio, as far as people even under 45, is really big. And why is that?
Yeah. Diabetes is actually a growing epidemic in America. What we know, as you said, is 1 in every 3 American adults are at risk for diabetes. But then also, African Americans, we have a double risk of getting diabetes than Caucasians.
Okay.
1 in every 6 African Americans you see actually have diabetes. The challenge here is that a lot of the people who have diabetes don't even know they have it.
Right.
So this national education campaign by Novo Nordisk, Ask Screen No, is urging African Americans over the age of 45, family history, know your risk.
Yes.
Understand where you are, because the sooner you know your risk, the more you can do something about it, because a lot of complications can occur, but many of them can be prevented.
We're talking about diabetes and African Americans and people of all color getting diabetes, but people who aren't really don't know about diabetes and who just think have sugar. You know, there's two type of diabetes. Let's talk about that before we go to the phones.
Sure. There is a type 1 diabetes and type 2. They're the most common.
Right.
Type 1 diabetes is usually, we used to call it juvenile onset. Usually children, younger people get it, and they have to take insulin in order to live, right? Their body does not produce insulin.
Right.
And type 2 diabetes, which is the most common one, about 95% of people have that one. So that's the one that we're talking about, urging people to get screened for. In that type of diabetes, the body is not producing perhaps as much insulin as it should, or the body's not using it correctly. Therefore, the blood sugars get higher and higher, and it can damage, your eyes, your kidneys, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and it's important. I really appreciate Reverend Run and Justine using their celebrity to talk about this, because anybody's can get it, because Halle Berry, Sherry Shepherd on The View, J. Anthony Brown, Larry King, Tom Hanks, they all suffer from type 2 diabetes. And this is something, it's a silent killer.
Yes.
You know, because it does lead to blindness, amputation, and other illnesses.
You know, we have a lot of people on the line right now that want to ask you guys questions. 888-742-3345. If you have any questions, we have Demetris on the line from Georgia on the line. Oh, no, that's Todd. Todd, good morning. How you doing? He's from Ohio. Todd, good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing okay.
How everybody doing?
Good morning.
Hi, Tony.
What's up?
Todd,
I just had a comment. I went through a lot of that with my father. He was a diabetic. He was on the list for the transplant. He got that. Everything went well for a few years, and then he ended up suffering from a diabetic coma and eventually passed away like a week before my first son was born. And also, I just been getting tested a lot as a kid to make sure I didn't have it, because it ran so heavy in our family. And I was just commenting on what you guys are talking about, and it did lead to him being blind in one eye and partially blind in another eye. And it was just hard growing up with him having that, always, finding him shooting himself in the leg with insulin and going to dialysis. It was just tough, and him waiting on the list for so long for the transplant. But, it is a silent killer.
Yeah.
Thank you for your call, Todd. What advice would you give to the family member or the friend that's dealing with someone who has diabetes?
The reason I'm so very excited about this national education program that Novo Nordisk has is because it's encouraging people to know their risks, to get screened, so that if you have diabetes, the great thing about diabetes is that it can be managed.
Yes.
And if a person has diabetes already, we would like to encourage them to go to cornerstonesforcare.com, because that is an online support system that can actually give them tools and resources that can help them. But with diabetes, if a family member has it, they've seen what perhaps has happened to their family, the first thing they need to do is to take the diabetes risk assessment. They need to know where they are, because many of the complications that occur from diabetes can be prevented. And that's the message that we want to get out. And I know he mentioned that his dad was on insulin. And I just want to say that many people who have diabetes, if they've had it for a while, they may have to go on insulin. There's a lot of myths out there about insulin, but insulin is really what is needed in diabetes, because diabetes is a disease where there's a lack of insulin.
Yeah.
So insulin can actually help lower those sugars and help people become healthier if they can start taking it on time earlier in their treatment.
Justine, emotionally, having family members who suffer from diabetes, what advice would you give to someone just to kind of stay strong and be supportive? And what have you done?
Well, for me personally, we started eating healthier.
Yeah.
We started working out more. As a family, Ty mentioned his father had it, but from there, so he won't keep the cycle going, he needs to teach his son, and he has to try to eat portion control. And so it's a teaching thing. If we all knew, if I would have known all of this wouldn't have happened to, my uncles, my aunts. And if my husband didn't get involved, I was at risk when I went. So I could have ended up with diabetes. But now that I know, Sway, I can take the precautions. Like when even our Thanksgivings are different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of 50 starches, we got more, more.
You know how black folks do.
Yeah, well, we starched
you got
up,
cornbread
baby.
and
dressing,
rice, and everything
Rice
is
and
starched
mac.
out.
Yeah.
And sweet tea.
Yeah.
And whatever else.
And Kool-Aid.
Yeah, all that.
That's right. So even our barbecues now, it's more fish,
Yeah.
it's more shrimp, and that stuff tastes good
Yeah.
on the grill. You
Yeah.
know, so it is a change that you have to do. But if you can't do it for yourself, because sometimes it's hard. Like me and Joey, our thing is we doing it for our kids.
Yeah, we don't want to see them suffer.
It,
So
it's selfish of us.
and a lot of
to
people
know
don't
this.
want to get checked for
Yeah.
anything. They think hiding from the doctor is going to help. But no, if you go, you can catch it early and you can manage it. So don't think that sitting home. And I always tell people when I tweet, what you don't confront, you cannot fix. So whatever if something's far away from you, and which is the doctor, how can you grab? Like if you imagine trying to grab something, Sway.
Yeah.
If you're far away from it, can you grab it? No. Get close to it. You want to be close to the enemies, and the enemies meaning the diabetes or any bad health situation. The closer you get to it, you can get it in the yolk.
Yeah.
Hold on. You ain't gonna mess me up with my kids, or you ain't gonna mess up my health. So get closer to things. Confront things, because what you don't confront, you cannot fix.
Exactly. That's
Reverend
why.
Run.
That's right, and that's why we
Know your
we
risk.
encourage everyone. Please go to
I was scared.
AskScreenKnow.com.
Really scared when I was becoming the ambassador with Novo Nordisk. I had taken tests earlier, but I was like, I got to take tests again. I was so scared, and I was like, you know what? Everybody's going to be afraid. You're going to be scared going, but here's the key to life. Do it afraid. The afraid might not leave. You be going there scared all the way to the doctor, but just do it afraid. Like, I'm afraid to see what's going on. No, go. Live through the being afraid point and take the test so you can manage it. I mean, I took it again recently, so I'm getting used to it now. You know, once you find out, but I just don't want to have it. I want a long life. I don't want to be unhappy, and I don't want to have these complications
And you don't want
that
it
come
to
from diabetes.
sneak
And
up on you.
and it's in my family history. My dad had it. I don't want it.
You don't want it.
You're listening to Sway in the morning
on Shade 45.